been badly used in Italy. It has been used as infantry when it's an airborne outfit. It should not have been used as simply grunts, if you will. So I wound up in England waiting to get assigned as a replacement. Replacements don't have a very enviable life. You're new to an outfit, people don't know you, they don't trust you, they don't understand you. So what happened was I finally wound up in H Company, 2nd Battalion, 504. Thank God I was surrounded by people who, there were some old vets, old grizzled veterans from Italy and from Sicily, and there were some newbies like myself. But thank God we got along very, very well. I got very, very friendly with some guy who should have not been in the airborne. He was almost 40 years old. He was a logger from Maine. He was an explosive expert, and he sort of took me under his wings, and we got along just famously. One thing about the airborne, we were training 29 hours a day, 11 days a week. I can never remember when I had any time to rest. It was train, and thank goodness that I was trained as well as I was. Let me just go back a bit. I took 17 weeks of infantry basic at Fort McClellan, Alabama, when I was just a kid. This was in 1943. And as I went through that long training period, I began to look around me and say to myself, I don't know if I want to go into combat with this crowd. They didn't impress me a great deal. So when the airborne recruiter came by, there were a few of us who raised our hands, and we made the decision to join the airborne. That was just prior to 4 weeks of hell at Fort Benning, Georgia, the longest 4 weeks of my life, I think. And then I was assigned to the 504. We trained and we trained and we trained. Unfortunately, Montgomery never consulted me about this plan of his. When I learned about it, I thought to myself, well, this is a harebrained scheme. And also, Ron, as I recall, and again, I am not the world's leading authority on this particular campaign, it seemed to me to have been planned within a matter of days. General Gavin, who was the commanding general of the 82nd, in retrospect, wondered about it too. The game plan was quite simple. The British were going to land at Arnhem, take the quote bridge too far, unquote. 101st and the 82nd would be south, and the grand plan was for the Brits to take the bridge, and we would link up, and that would be tra-la for the Germans. Well, as Ron will tell you later on, it didn't work out that way. I was a rifleman. My MOS was 7745, airborne rifleman. I was a private first class. I guess I had a couple of things going for me. I was an awfully good shot. I learned to shoot when I was 9 years old. And I also was one of the few guys in my outfit who had a driver's license. Would you believe that? I knew how to drive a Jeep. So when push came to shove and the word got out that Medlicott knew how to drive, things were really quite pleasant. We'll talk about that a little bit later.
Thank you, Joe. What we're going to do right now is we're going to watch some snippets of A Bridge Too Far. I mentioned to some people earlier that A Bridge Too Far is simply a movie too long, and so we're gonna shorten it a bit. But I'm gonna play for you as the opening scene, General Horrocks briefing the Corps of officers of all three airborne divisions at a gathering along the Dutch border, which is where this enterprise is going to kick off. It's well done. As much as I've disparaged Cornelius Ryan in the past several days, this book that he did was exactly the opposite of The Longest Day. It was well done. And the depiction here, once again in filmography, of a map and a briefer is very well done, so that actually he's briefing you. He's going to tell you what this market garden is about. Then we'll watch that part of the film showing the airborne and gliders taking off and jumping, and then the armored column, the 30 Corps, beginning to move up this narrow road. 30 Corps is a corps, but it's a small corps. It's only 2 divisions rather than 3, yet it's an enormous armored column. And once again, like Normandy, it's going to require surprise, and surprise is going to be paramount. And when it begins, the Germans are totally surprised. Unfortunately for us, General Dietrich, who is up at Arnhem, reacts with lightning quickness and shuts the door after a small British unit manages to slip through to the final objective. And of course, the story goes on from there. So let me find the bridge too far, get it to where we want to start it,